Your foot health, it impacts everything else around you. Modern day shoes are not built to support that. I just think you can have it all in one shoe. Years ago, I was diagnosed with a condition called Morton's Neuroma. It's basically when the tissue around the nerves gets really thickened and inflamed, and it kind of feels like you have a ball in your foot. There's other types of ways that people experience it, that there's like a rock in your shoe, there could be shooting pain, burning pain, a general kind of like soreness. For me, it started when I woke up one morning after wearing high heels, and my right foot basically felt numb. There was just a long line on the bottom of my foot, and I couldn't really feel it. And I just thought maybe I was just dancing too much, like maybe it's the shoes, whatever. Didn't really bother me. It didn't really click in my head. I just thought this is something that'll go away. So it was numb for the first day, and then the second day, and the third day, and the numbness wouldn't go away. And that's when I started kind of freaking out. So I consulted Dr. Google, as one does, and it was just horror stories. The first thing that popped up was Morton's Neuroma, and it felt like I had all the symptoms, but I was like, no, like, I can't be diagnosing myself. I'm generally an anxious person, so I'm always kind of like over-diagnosing myself, and like I always think something's wrong with me. So I was like, nah, this is just one of those times where I'm just jumping the gun, you know, being really dramatic. And I just kind of forgot about it. I left it. I was like, it'll go away. And then those days turned into weeks, and that's when I started to get really concerned because I knew that something was wrong. I just didn't know what the best course of action was. It was probably my fault. I left a little bit too long. But when I did see my doctor, they just kind of said it's temporary. It's just a muscle strain. You've just kind of injured that the bottom of your foot, and it'll go away. Just, you know, don't wear high heels for the time being. So I didn't. The numbness wouldn't go away. And it just kind of kept progressing. If I was walking for a really long time, I started to get the pain. I kept seeing my doctor, and I had to see her multiple times until she ordered a ultrasound for me and x-rays. And she also referred me to see a podiatrist. I went into his office. He's like, okay, let me see your gait. He made me walk back and forth in his office. He told me to take my shoes off, and then he squeezed my foot. It's called the metatarsal squeeze test, or sometimes it's called the pinch test. Basically, he took my foot, kind of like with his hand, and then he squeezed it. So painful. It was just like this incredible, like sharp, kind of like a knife. So when they do that, there's something called a Mulder's click, and when they press like this, they're either looking for signs of extreme pain or for an actual physical click. So I had both, of course. He basically on the spot was like, this is what you have. Try putting a metatarsal pad in your shoe. And so he taped up my foot, put the metatarsal pad on my actual skin, put my sock over it, and he's like, try this and let's see how it goes. I remember walking home from that appointment because before all of this, I used to walk a lot. I just really enjoyed it. Everywhere I was downtown, I would walk. And so from the appointment to my house, it was about like a 45-minute walk, and I remember crying home the entire way. I cried because when you read about Morton's Neuroma, it all says that it's permanent and that there's no way to really get rid of it. And so it just really scared me that something was permanent. And I thought, oh my God, like there's no way that this can get worse. This really sucks. And then I started feeling the same thing in my left foot. So I had the positive test from the ultrasound. The x-ray didn't show anything, but usually Morton's Neuroma does not show up on an x-ray. It's on an ultrasound. And so, I don't know, I let myself wallow in it for a few months. I was just like, my life is over, and, you know, being really dramatic. And then I just thought, okay, what is the first thing that I can do? So when you Google, what do you do for Morton's Neuroma? These are the top things that you see online. Resting, putting your foot up. If you're a runner, stop running. If you wear heels, stop wearing heels. Just let your feet just chill out. The second is icing. I was reading online that icing can help it a lot, especially in the beginning, although for me it was kind of late at that point. Taking over-the-counter medications, so like Tylenol, just something that's anti-inflammatory and that could help with the pain. Wearing comfortable shoes, getting special insoles, massaging it. Although there is a lot of conflicting advice on this. Some say massage it, some say do not under any circumstance massage it because then you'll aggravate it. Foot exercises. And then beyond these, they recommend alcohol injections, steroid injections, surgeries. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to try all these things and let's see what works. For some people, they were able to reverse their Morton's Neuroma, but for me, I thought it was going to be a little bit too late because at this point, I had had it for months. But I thought, let's just try everything possible and let's see what's going to work. I tried it all. I tried icing it. I tried hot baths with Epsom salts. I tried taking Tylenols in the morning. I tried a lot of it's just like creams and medications. I tried Voltaren, Tiger Balm, Rub A535, one of those. Didn't work. Spoiler alert, didn't work. I tried massaging it, really did not work for me. That actually made it a lot worse, so I avoided that. Another thing that I read was spacing out your toes. So you could literally do it with like those toe spacers that you buy online, or you can just use your fingers. You could just give that nerve a little bit more room so it's not pressing up so much. Really, really helped. But not the ones that I got from Amazon. Those ones gave me a lot of pain for some reason. But at home, I literally just take toilet paper, like tissue paper, and I roll it up into these little balls, and then I put it in between every toe. And that gave me a lot of support. I think that's been the most helpful so far in terms of actual like physical things that I do. And the last thing that I was doing was finding a nice pair of shoes. So that leads us to where we are today. I tried so many different pairs of shoes, and there was kind of this criteria that I had for Morton's shoes. So I wanted them to be wide toe box, I wanted them to be zero drop, and I wanted them to have support on the bottom. So not like arch support, but I didn't want them to be barefoot shoes because barefoot really aggravates. And so I began my search. I tried like almost every shoe brand that I could think of. I used to go to stores. I would just try so many multiple pairs of shoes. I would try ones with arch support, without arch support. And so many times, even just trying the shoe on in the store and walking around would flare up the Morton's Neuroma like crazy, and it would just leave me in so much pain. It was just a kind of a nightmare. And I just kept trying and trying, and then I found Ultras. When I found Ultras, it was like, oh my gosh, my immediate need for relief was answered. And at that point, I was like, I don't care what the shoe looks like. Any color, any style, I don't care. I just need something that I can live my life and not be in so much pain. I could only wear running shoes. I couldn't walk like how I used to. I couldn't hike anymore. Even riding the bike, because when you push down on the pedal, it would flare up. It just felt like I was so stuck physically. My mood was so low, and I just kind of relied on eating a lot and eating really good food to kind of make me happy. And so I just gained a lot of weight. So this was all just happening in the same time. I was not able to do the exercise. I was not able to wear nice shoes, and I gained a lot of weight, so I couldn't even fit into my clothes. And every time that I would buy new clothes, nothing goes with running shoes. I couldn't really find anything that kind of looked good on me with those running shoes, and so I would just resort to buying a lot of athletic wear. And so my whole wardrobe just became leggings, t-shirts, sweaters. It's not bad. It's really comfortable. I love, like even this, just super comfortable. I don't mind wearing it, but just the inability to ever dress up was really weighing on me. And I would complain about it a lot to my friends, I'm like, oh, I just feel like shit. Like, I don't feel good. I want to dress up, blah, 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 blah. Just really kind of moping and moaning. And I was still spending so much money trying to buy shoes because you can't always return them. And so I would go and try, or I'd order online. They would arrive, and it's just not what I'm looking for. So I was just so sick of this whole cycle. And I would tell my friends, I really want to start my own shoe brand. I really want to do it. I was texting them, and this would be such a good idea. And at one point, they were just like, why don't you? Why wouldn't you try? And I just kind of hit that point where I was like, what do I really have to lose? And it never really seemed feasible. I never saw myself as being somebody that could kind of take on a challenge like this. But I was just thinking to myself one day, like, why not? Why not just try? The worst case, and the absolute worst case, it all fails, it all doesn't work. I still get a nice closet full of shoes that I want to wear, that I can wear, that I can use to elevate my fashion sense. So in the absolute worst case scenario, I just get some nice shoes, it's not so bad. And in the best case scenario, I can actually help others that are feeling like me, because if I'm having this problem, maybe others are as well. And another thing that I was thinking is that people don't really realize how important foot health is. I didn't either. I couldn't give less of a about shoes before because I didn't know how important it was. But now when you realize that your foot health, it impacts everything else around you. It impacts your knee health. It impacts your hips. Starting from the bottom up, it's all connected. So the way that your feet are, that's going to be how your whole posture is, how your whole gait is, how your whole health is. It impacts you in so many different ways. And modern day shoes are not built to support that. They're way too narrow. Heels, I don't think people realize how damaging heels could be in the long run. They look beautiful. I am never going to argue against that. I love heels. I think they're just so beautiful. But the health repercussions are not worth wearing heels. I think people don't realize how common foot problems are in older women. For me, it just happened to come early in my life, and so I've been focusing and reading a lot about it. But if you see, like, Morton's neuroma is actually quite common in older women who have been wearing heels their whole life. And so I was thinking, not only would this idea help people that are struggling like me with other foot conditions, but it could just be for the general population without having to give up the fashion aspect of it, without having to wear shoes that they don't like so much or that don't fit as well. You know, like I just think you can have it all in one shoe. I used to think, like, why did this have to happen to me? Like, I'm so young, this is so unfair. It was just a really kind of not a good space to be in, really. Like, I wasn't really enjoying anything. And now having this goal of creating this shoe has made me so excited again. And I just kind of lost that drive to, like, you know, try new things, have new challenges. Like, even filming this YouTube video is, like, so nerve-wracking for me. This kind of challenge, it just pushes you in, like, different ways. I was thinking to use this channel to document everything. So I want to see in a year how far I can get. I want to see what kind of mistakes I make in it, what kind of lessons I can learn. I want to compare myself from, you know, from today to next year. Like where is Alara going to be in January 2026? I'm just curious, you know, I'm just really excited to see where the brand could be in that year's time. If I don't succeed, then this could just be a big learning lesson for everybody, and they could learn from my mistakes so that they don't do it in their businesses. If you want to see behind the scenes, if you want to see the whole journey from beginning to end, then this is definitely going to be for you. I also have an Instagram if you want to follow that. Let's do it!